your typical motorsports podcast. You're listening to Crush This, a monster truck podcast presented by High Octane Coffee and J Concepts. A show where we take you inside the minds of your favorite drivers, past and present, of the monster truck industry. And now, your hosts, Brad Shaw and Dan Chichagash. Buckle in. The show starts now.
And welcome to a brand new episode of Crush This Live. My name is Brad Shaw, aka the Monster Truck Conductor, the guy with the new computer setup, new surroundings, new setup, new camera angle, new computer. Things are going good. And back from Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania for the four-wheel and off-road jamboree event is Mr. Dan Chichagash. Dan, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, just like you said, I came back from Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, the four-wheel drive jamboree. It was a good turnout. A lot of good trucks, if anyone knows. There was Fast Metal, Bad Company, Bad Habit, a lot of bad names. Just kidding. Raminator and General Tire, and Buckshot. It was a good turnout. A lot of mud trucks there. It was cool seeing Dennis there. His son Weston's going to be in Thursday's group, and man, it was a good turnout. It rained Friday. It just poured. And so they canceled it out. But we did our show Saturday and Sunday. Good turnout Saturday. A lot of trucks moving around. It was pretty cool. But the next racing event for us will be at Indianapolis. That will be in September for racing. But we're going to do a couple dealerships in Tennessee for the next couple for next week, so that's gonna be exciting.
Things are going on. But Cheech, this episode is gonna be a good one, and we were talking to our guest right beforehand, and man, this is this is gonna be a good one. I think this is probably gonna be one of our highest ones yet. I'm pretty sure of that.
Well, he said anything goes, so we're gonna do it. He's going to say.
and we'll say this. And he told you this, and he just told me this. This is his last interview relating to anything monster truck related. After this, it's just doing off-road stuff only. So this is a big one, guys. So ask away. Anything goes. Like Cheech said, that's what he told us. So I might as well bring him in. He is, I believe, was 2017 Monster Jam World Freestyle Champion and the VP Racing Field's Mad Scientist, the first man to ever do a front flip in a 10,000-pound monster truck, Mr. Lee O'Donnell. Lee, how's it going tonight, dude?
Good. How you guys doing?
Hang in there.
Not too bad. Just another sunny night here in Canada, dealing with kids around the apartment, but it's all good.
Same here. I'm at my daughter's softball game, so she'll be wrapping up here any minute.
Awesome. So we're going to start in the beginning and out before we even talk about monster trucks in general. For me personally, I knew you through off-roading, short course off-roading, stadium off-roading, and stuff like that. How did you, for being a guy from New Jersey, how did you get your foot into the door of the off-road trucks and the Bajas and short course in general and like that?
Yeah. So growing up, both my parents raced off-road. New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Virginia. That was our summers from when I was a baby. My father was instrumental in bringing about the first East Coast Four-Wheel Drive Association. He was one of the founders in, 67, 68, 69, somewhere in there. So we were a racing family, and it just that was all I ever wanted to do.
So throughout the years, what did you start racing first? Did you start off, in a lower class, or did you really like going right up to something that was kind of high powered and something that, you kind of weren't ready to go in yet, but you were just like, I'm just going to do it?
No, I raced BMX, and I was pretty successful, doing that. But I wanted to race motocross, and, that didn't work out so well. I was kind of small, and anytime we went to the track, I just, the older kids just beat up on me. So my mother was, she's like, let's try something else. So it was I wanted to go sprint car racing at some point, and we went to an event, and my mother was not having any of that. So, but I was still pretty young, maybe 15, 16, somewhere in there. So I just started racing around the Pennsylvania area in a Jeep. That I don't know exactly. I don't remember where it came from. It's just all of a sudden a Jeep appeared, race ready. That was, partly my father's doing, I guess. So I did that for a few years, and nothing exciting. It was on a very local level. And one of the guys I raced with took me to Crandon, and that was it. That was all she wrote. I had to be there. I had to go race in the Midwest at Crandon, and so I purchased my first Pro Light from Johnny Greaves, and kind of just took off from there.
So yeah, because I knew you from Pro Lights, and then you also did some buggy racing and stuff like that. Now, let the people more informed about that. Like maybe someone asks, "Oh, why didn't you do like Pro 2 or Pro 4 when you started out?" Can you explain about that? Because I know personally, it seems like it's always financially.
To go run short course is very, very, very expensive. Especially if you want to be competitive, it's very expensive. Even the Pro Light. I mean, I was pretty much self-funded. I got some help along the way, but for the most part, it was, I went home, I worked my ass off all week, prepping my own stuff in the beginning, and back in the truck, driving to Wisconsin or Michigan or wherever we were racing the following week. It's super expensive. And I try to give this advice to anybody that's going into short course. You better bring a big wallet. You need talent, but you need the wallet.
So, you mentioned Crandon, and that's a very legendary track in off-road racing, and it's been replicated virtually and stuff like that. But what's it like going down that long straightaway? Like everybody beside you going to that first turn. What's the adrenaline like when you're doing that? Is it like, oh my God, I'm gonna die, or are you just like
no? So I always tell people it's the 5 minutes before the green flag.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're nervous, you're excited, your adrenaline is especially when you start getting in the truck, that's when it's really pumping, and then you kind of settle in, and then from when you see Faye start to climb the ladder in the starter's tower, it's like, all right, the calm comes over, and it's business, because you need to be focused 100% on what you're doing, because it could be really, really, really bad. Knock on wood, I've been pretty fortunate to get through almost all of my first turns. I had I think maybe one or two where I didn't come out of it.
Did you ever have a pucker moment going in the first turn one?
Every time is a pucker moment going into turn one.
Because it's always it seems like, I know for a fan perspective, it's always the first turn in any type of off-road short course racing that gets the adrenaline pumping. And how did you get the transition? How did you get to the transition to the stadium series? Because I know the Pro Lights are very exciting, running in like the stadium atmosphere.
So even before I did any of the Midwest races, I mean, I picked the truck up from Johnny. I don't even know when it was, maybe October, November, December, somewhere in there. And I think it was Pace at the time. They were doing their first event in Pontiac, the Silverdome. I think it's Silverdome. And I got a call from Bill Easterly inviting me to it, and there were a few other guys, and I'm like, hell yeah, I'm down with that. They were giving away money and a trophy. I was all over it. So we went there and we won that first event, and it was cool, and it was it was exciting. And that I don't know if we did any more after that. I really don't remember. I got a very bad memory. But the following year, it was a full-blown winter schedule. And I think we did that for 3 years. And we were pretty successful with it. We have a lot of trophies, made some good money. You made enough that you could stay out on the road pretty much. So it was a good time for sure. Very real good time.
What like, especially even with the short course off road and even the indoor stuff, did you like a more technical track? Were you like more driver's track, or did you like a track that was kind of more open, big jumps, like just send it kind of style tracks?
Yes. Yes. I loved racing in the stadium. Especially when you had a lot of fans there. It was that's kind of what got me the bug for the stadium stuff. But I don't know. There's something, Bark River Bark River can be so sketchy that, I got into this really bad habit of holding my breath so you climb this, a little bit of a hill, and it's off camber to the other side, and you're just flat out as fast as you can go into this long sweeper. And man, I would hold my breath the whole time, and I get to the other end there, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't even breathe. And they're like, well, just breathe. I'm like, all right, I'll breathe. And then I'd be fine going the rest of the course, But I'd come to that, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, here we go. And it was just, it's a lot of fun. And 9 times out of 10, you hit it perfectly. But on that 10th time, man, you never know. And there's a lot of guys better than me that really screwed the pooch on it.
They'll jump up and bite you.
Oh, hell yeah.
So that was probably one of the tracks you kind of circled on. What type was your favorite? Was there any place else that you liked racing at?
The original Chula Vista. Man, that was an awesome track. It was a little dry, but being Southern California, but the original Chula Vista was pretty badass.
What do you think of the off-road racing series now? Because you have, in the West Coast, you have the Lucas Oil Series, and then you in the I believe it's still the I forget the exact name of it in the East Coast, like Crandon, Bark River and stuff. What do you think of the modern day stuff now? Like guys, like Brian Deegan coming in, Jeremy McGrath coming in, a lot of those, guys that race, motocross coming in to, dominate in the Pro 2, Pro 4 categories.
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like, to me, short course off-road racing is like one of the best forms of racing. I mean, you need the setup in the truck has to be right. So you need a great crew chief, you need a great driver, and I'll go back to you need funding, tons of funding. To me, it never really changed. The same problems that were had when I was there seem like they're still there. It's a shame because to me, it's the most exciting form of racing there is.
But, no, you Rich. Oh, okay. Sorry, Lee.
But no, it's okay. You see the same issues time and time again. New promoter comes in. I'm going to fix everything. I know how to do it, and bam, they're they come in and they're gone. And then the next one comes in. I know how to fix everything. I know how to do this, and sooner or later they're out the door. It's a vicious cycle, but it's not easy. It's not easy to run something like that and to fix it. The guy that's in there now, I've known him since the first year I started off-road. If there's anybody, he might have the best chance.
So now we're a bridge off of not just off-roading, but endurance racing. I also know you a lot for doing that. Like, I think you did the King of the Hammers, and and the Mint 400 and the Vegas to Reno, stuff like that. So were you mixing up the two from, the short course off-road racing with the Pro Light and also doing the endurance racing? And if you did, is there a different mental setup that you have to do with these vehicles and then as a driver?
Yeah, for short course, it's light your hair on fire and you go for 20 minutes, 20 laps, whatever it is. There's no rest for the weary. It's flat out, whereas in desert racing, even the racing we do back here in Pennsylvania, which I still do, I still love to go to. It's more of a mental deal. You're not going to win in the first 100 miles. You're not going to win in the first 200 miles, so you need to get in and set that pace. And, every time you catch yourself trying a little too hard, you need to back her off just a little bit, because it's a long day and it could be a long night. So, but I do say, it's my favorite type of racing, is desert. Although we're, fairly still new at it, we've had some pretty decent success. So,
what's your favorite race like that? Teachers mentioning, the Mint 400. There's also Vegas to Reno. What's your favorite, race that you've done so far? And even the types, because there's a lot of different, you have to go on gravel, some rocky areas, some pavement. What, do you feel like is your vehicle is best suited for? Do you have to build a vehicle that's all rounded for that? Or even King of the Hammers, that one's kind of rock crawling and desert racing kind of mixed.
So I haven't done KOH yet. I've been there a couple times. Just the opportunity hasn't been right for me to go there just yet and race. But my favorite event is the NORRA 1000.
Okay.
So it's basically like the Baja 1000, but it's broken up into days and stages. So you race all day, and you go to the hotel at night, and the crew tends to the car, and you get up the next day and you continue, and you race from basically Ensenada down to La Paz, and it's a little bit more laid back. It's still a race, but it's more laid back. But it's just you're every day you're racing, as opposed to the regular Baja 1000, which is probably my second favorite. That's tough, man. That's so I was involved. I did it with Dave Cole, who owns Ultra 4 King of the Hammers. I did it in his car. So I was the second driver. Dave started the race, and we got in somewhere around mile 300, right outside San Felipe. So you're trying to sleep the night before, which you can't because you're all amped up. Then you're pacing because you're waiting, hoping that the car gets to you. Now it's your turn, and now it's everybody's relying on you to make sure you get the car to the next guy, and still making time because it's still a race, and you're hauling ass and trying not to screw up. It's badass, but it's the nerves from the morning till you get out of the car. It's not over yet. They still have hundreds of miles to go before the finish line, and you praying that they even make it.
That's crazy. And outside of that, one race I always was considered of asking, and were you ever considered doing Pikes Peak?
So,
no,
yeah.
No. Is this breaking news?
So, no. I've talked to. You good? I've talked to Paul Cohen. I talked it over with Randy Brown a little bit. Charlie Mancuso. Do you know who Charlie is?
Yeah.
Okay. So before, I don't know when the idea kind of went away, but I wanted to take a monster truck up Pikes Peak, a full legit run at it with a monster truck, and it just never came together. Charlie, it just never reached him fast enough, and then before you knew it, they did what they did, and that kind of put a kibosh to it. I brought it up a couple of times, and Feld weren't interested.
That would have been insane to see, though. Like
it could still, it's a possibility, because there's only one truck that's ever done it, and it took like, I don't know, all day, whatever, So as long as you made it to the top, bam, you got a world record right there.
So, I wanted to ask this. I've been to Ensenada. I went there on a mission trip with my church years ago. And it's such a beautiful city. Any secret spots for food or anything that you've been there? Like, I will say this: the tacos there, like the best thing I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, there's so many of them. But when I go down there, I'm there for work. I'm there for business. I'm on business, so food is just the last thing on my mind.
Yeah, it's so. Also, when you were going back to the stadium series, how did the little bug or the transition between your off-roading or your stadium light, your pro light, went into even thinking about maybe I'm going to get into one of these monster trucks?
So it probably happened. So we did that event in Pontiac. I want to say it was '97. Could have been '97. Again, my memory is shot. So it was the following year. They always had Dennis there and some other monster trucks. I don't know who or which, but so they had a gravedigger at one of the events, and as I was doing registration, signing in for the off-road part of it, they had I think Pablo was there maybe, or Dennis. And I said to the lady, I was like, man, I'd love to rip around the field with that thing. And that'd be so awesome. And she just looked at me. She goes, I can make that happen. And I'm like, all right, sign me up. And I think it was maybe the following year. I can't remember. Maybe it was the following year, maybe '99. That so Mike Wales called me, and the lady that I was talking to was Peggy. So I always credit Peggy with getting me in with Monster Jam. But it was Mike that brought me along and took me down to test in North Carolina with Dave Hellier. He's a dirt guy for Dirtworks, and Jill Mancuso? No, Jill Caruso. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So it was the three of us.
Jill Canuso.
Canuso, yeah. And then me and Jill got hired on that year. I think along with I think George, Deborah, and maybe Fortune. I think we were all the same year. If not, we were right around each other because we were the first fly-in drivers.
I just kind of want to quickly say this. I think Peggy's watching because she just hearted the stream. So
yeah,
I think she's watching right now.
She's a special lady in my world for sure.
So going from testing in the field in North Carolina. How did the journey come from there? What was your next step? Did you continue doing some off-road racing, or did you go right into the monsters?
I never stopped racing off-road. It worked out well that so the stadium stuff only lasted a few years. I wish they would have given it another couple more years because it was catching on. It wasn't the right time. So now my winters were freed up. So I went right into Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man truck. Okay. And I did that. I don't know whether it was 99 or 2000. I always say it's 2000 just to make it easier for me to add the numbers to know how many years I drove.
So also, I mean, when you did your the monster truck career, you jumped around a lot of trucks, and it seemed like they like Scott Douglas always said you were the fill-in guy. and it took a while, it seemed like, for them to get you your own identity or your own, I guess Chad Fortune would say, your own type of identity truck.
Yeah.
Was that kind of a little bit frustrating, or you just didn't care what truck you were driving? You just drove the living.
No. Especially with Mike Wales, he always said, there'll always be a truck, no matter what. Come January, you're going to be driving something. Sometimes we don't know what. So yeah, I bounced around a little bit here and there. And it didn't matter to me. I was, doing my thing, whatever, playing with monster trucks and racing all summer and off road. So I was a happy camper as long as there was a ride. And then obviously the Ironman deal came along, and it was a good fit.
So, coming from racing on off road and doing the stadium stuff and the short course, transitioning into a monster truck, was that a easy transition because you kind of knew, you kind of had you have experience behind the wheel of a race vehicle, or was it kind of a learning experience for you? What was your first kind of moments, as you're testing? It's like, man, this is easier. Like, this is hard.
No, I could tell you because I remember it vividly. I did, and they weren't even big jumps. They were just jumps out behind the digger shop. And I hit the first one and it landed. And I pulled over and he's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "Your truck's broke." He goes, "Well, what do you mean your truck's broke?" I was like, "This thing lands like shit." I was like, it's like landing on a brick. And Lyle Hancock. Lyle Hancock. Yeah. He got, and he's, he didn't like me from the get-go. Because I didn't work on anything. I didn't, I was just, we just never saw eye to eye. And he's like, and I can hear them. I can feel them, you're I don't want to say it. You're a sissy. So he's like, so he gets in it and jumps it, and the thing just like, bam. And after that, yeah, they adjusted the shocks a little bit, but that was kind of the beginning. And in the first few years, man, the trucks were just, God, they rode so hard. And, we only had neck collars and suspension seats.
Oh,
it was horrible. But, to me, it was just a giant size race car. It still had a gas pedal and a brake and a steering wheel. So it didn't matter to me.
But I kind of got me a little bit of a question about jumps, and even with in the off-roading side of it, what track had the biggest jump that even you were like, when you first got there, you're like, I don't know about this one, but I'm going to go with it.
In off-road?
Yeah.
So in the stadiums, I think we were doing 65-foot tabletops, and you really had to grease the landing for it to work, because if you landed on top, it wasn't a big deal, but if you overshot it and flat landed, that really sucked. I broke my tailbone in Houston doing that. I misjudged just a little bit, and so they were always gnarly, but when you got the rhythm down, it was pretty sweet. But I guess that Bark River, just going up and over that hill, just it's pretty sweet.
So, you went in, multiple different trucks, like Cheech said, Scott Douglas called you the fill-in guy. You kind of moved around quite a bit, and then you found a home in Ironman. How did that whole deal come about? And, that body must have been really expensive, and I wouldn't want to be the guy in charge of that.
It was, and I was told, many times, but I think that's, it kind of fit what I was doing. So that's when I kind of, there was a long learning process of going into it, I'm a racer. That's why I was there. I just want to race. I want to win. There's a trophy. I want it, and it took me a long time to learn that I'm an entertainer, and just winning something at the end was just, kind of a side deal to it. I'm there to entertain the fans. And it was at the point of Ironman where I kind of learned my position on the ladder, because, I looked at Dennis and I looked at Tom and I'm like, well, I want to win, and they're like, well, that's not really, that's their job. That's not your job, and it took me a long time to learn that. But once I did, then Ironman came along and I went and I did my job. Not tearing up the body was a very big part of that. So I had to learn to entertain without destroying the truck. And I kind of, I pride myself on some of that. Anybody could go out there and just point and shoot. But to go consistently week after week and entertain, and we've, me and Tanner won our fair share of events. Not many freestyles, but again, that to me, that wasn't my job. Racing wise, Mike Wales always said, and Easterly, Ken Hudgens, if you want to go win racing, go try, it's, go ahead, have at it. But for the freestyle end of it, just go out there, entertain the fans. And so that's what I did.
So for a while you had the Ironman truck. And then,
7 years.
Yeah. And then how did you got connected with the VP project?
So that happened on a flight back from Australia. I was asked that, if I would be interested in doing that, because to me, throughout my career, it's and this is for every racer, you always want the big sponsor, you always want, you want all the good parts. You want the best of everything, and that comes along with a sponsor, and I was so jealous of one of my better friends now, one of my best friends, Lindsey Wink. In the beginning, we hated each other. We didn't know why, but I hated him because he had the Ford truck and that was a corporate ride. And I hated his driving suit because it was cool. And I hated everything about him. And the minute Mike Wales put me in that truck and said, go to Atlanta and you better win, it was game on. And that was probably one of the highlights of my Monster Jam career, was winning in Atlanta. Never drove the truck before, never even sat in it, just went into the building, and we won. And it was pretty awesome. I still tease Lindsey about that. Like, I'm going to text him as soon as we're done here, say, remember that time I borrowed your truck and whooped everybody's ass in it? You're welcome.
See, I'm kind of like almost thinking like it's almost kind of like a John Force kind of thing. Like it's how I'm going to explain it in my head. Like, so like, for many years, John Force was the, the struggling guy, going like, hardly any sponsorship. And he's looking at guys like Kenny Bernstein and Don Perdome. Yeah. And then, John, eventually gets that big sponsor, and
it drives you.
Yeah.
It drives you.
Oh yeah. And he finally gets that win in Montreal in '87. Gets Castro DCX, Austin Coyle, and now that's almost like that kind of same thing. Yeah.
So when I, so originally, on the flight back from Australia is when they asked me if I'd be interested. Obviously I said yes. So when I got home and these guys are pitching this stuff to me, oh, well, you're going to have to wear a scientist outfit. And I'm like, you got what? I'm like, and there was like, and I'm on the phone with Easterly and Keith Speller, and they're, and they're asking me all this, and I'm just dead silent on the phone, and they were like, well, are you going to need to think about it? I'm like, I think so. I think I'm going to have to actually think about this for a minute. I'm like, I get the whole, the whole shtick of the mad scientist and stuff, but, I don't, I ain't up for none of that gimmick stuff, And so finally, they were like, well, we're not sure yet. We're still bouncing ideas around. I'm like, all right, well, let's do it, And then the first meeting with VP was Chris Hall, a couple other guys, and they were just like, yeah, we're not doing any of that. And I'm like, oh my God, thank God. They were like, nope, just go out there, win, just win. That's all we want you to do is go out there and win. And I said to them, I was like, well, this is what I'd like. I said, I want the best looking suit. I want the best looking truck. I want the best crew guys. Every time we hit the floor, every time we get into the building, I want everybody to go, man, that stuff looks good. Boy, their game is tight. That's what I wanted. And that's what we delivered for 3 years. And I'm super proud of that. I got to give it to Brian and Mark Mays. Always had everything. Everything was always, down to the trailer. Everything had to be perfect. And ask Mark. I rode his shit. If stuff was dirty, unacceptable. Because the guy next to you, if his stuff looks better, can't have that. Not when you're in a sponsored truck.
It's like a saying my dad has: tight and right.
Tight and right. Yeah.
Like I'm dealing with that right now with Ram. I'm with the Hall Brothers Racing Team, and that's pretty much it. Clean. We're there to win racing. We do. Yeah. We know what role we're in freestyle. We're not going to be the Gravedigger or the Max D or company trucks. We're gonna throw a wrench in racing. You better pack your lunch when you take racing.
Just a quick little story about I don't know the guy's name, but we were in an arena one time and the Hall Brother trucks were there, and man, they were just so wound up. I don't know the guy's name, but he was pretty mad because every time we went to the line, I was an Ironman, I think at the time. I was with Frank Kreml. And we would get to the line and pull up and back up, and they'd do the shut off thing or whatever. And I'd pull back up knowing that he's just burning his stuff down. And I'd just pull up and back up again and pull up and back up again. And then we'd pull to the line, and he'd be so mad. And it wasn't the main guy. It was somebody. It was one of their drivers. And I'd kick it into neutral, and I'd just wham, hit the throttle, and boom, he'd take off and red light. And I would just sit there and laugh and laugh. And he got so mad, he came out of his truck around the arena trying to get up in my truck. But Tyson Swinart would not. He was not having any of that.
No. Yo, so talk about
I was not a very nice competitor.
See, I've heard some other stories from some other drivers about shenanigans like that at shows.
Oh yeah.
I was talking to one of my tech official friends who lives in Edmonton. He did a show in the hometown, and Mike Wine was driving. I think it was Backwards Bob. I think one of the trucks he drove. I think it was Monster Mutt, and he was like, I got a problem. So JR comes to the truck, and all of a sudden you just see water pour out of the side of the truck, and Mike just played the worst joke on him. But talk about your first season in Mad Scientist, because you go from having a truck of 7 years, as an Ironman, to a brand new identity. Your suit's looking good, your truck's looking good, everything's tight and right. Talk about that first season and how everything kind of went for you at that point.
In the beginning, it was a little bit of a struggle. We were doing some arenas, and so they paired me up with Phil, and Phil worked with me and Tanner on Ironman a little bit, so we were familiar with each other, and it just things were just not clicking. We were having steering issues, and we had another kid in the trailer, and he wasn't meshing. You know, it was just it wasn't a good fit. And I love Phil. You know, actually we text back and forth every now and then.
Phil Norman?
Just to no, Phil Onos.
Okay.
Cheech, what's his last name? Phil. Cheech ain't paying attention, so we should talk about Cheech right now.
I think he might be frozen. He was having a little bit of issues before he came on here, so we'll let him figure his own thing out. But
right,
go ahead.
So yeah, it just wasn't clicking. But you know, after we kind of sorted some stuff out, and we kind of got into a little bit of a rhythm. It just wasn't. It just wasn't at the level that I thought we should be at. Okay. So then we rolled into World Finals, and that's when Brian came on board. He was Tanner had said, "This is the guy you're going to want."
And we had Brian on, a little while ago. We did the audio version with him. And, we talked about his career and, what was, did you have a lot of expectation on yourself moving from, even though Iron Man's still a sponsor truck, it's DC or Marvel Comics. People are going to probably roast me for that one so bad. I'm not a comic book guy, but going to somebody like VP, was there a big expectation on yourself, to deliver for them?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. When I met with the owner, Alan, it was the same thing. I mean, he's a little different, but it was the same thing. He's like, well, there was a certain mission that he wanted accomplished. And that was that was my job. I took it serious, and I think we were pretty successful. I think we were extremely successful.
And I've adding Brian definitely helped. Brian and Mark, those guys are very knowledgeable about the trucks. And Cheech is back. Cheech, are you there? Are you there, bud? Cheech. Oh.
Hello?
Are you there?
There he is.
There he is. We got you back now. I don't know what happened there.
I don't know what's going on here.
Can you hear us? I don't think he can hear us. Cheech,
something's acting up on my side.
Can you hear us?
It says I have internet.
Okay. Well, he's figuring anything out. Sorry about that, guys.
Now,
can you hear us?
There's some type of...
Yeah, he's in and out.
Yeah, he's in and out. I don't know what's going on with him. Okay, well, can you hear us, Cheech? Okay, I'm gonna move him on the screen. He'll come back. I'll probably send him a quick message. So, okay. Talk about how after adding Brian, how all that started going on.
So Brian came in. I'm gonna try and turn the light on here. I don't know if that's good or bad. So Brian came in at World Finals, and in 16, and we did okay. I don't know if that was the year we red lighted or not. It was some issue with the lights or something like that. I don't know if it was that year, but right from the get go, I'm a really spoiled driver. Anybody will tell you that.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I don't. Listen, I don't hide it. If you're going to be part of this, then this is what I want. If you don't want to do it, then I'll ask for somebody else. And so Brian and Mark, they both, there couldn't have been a better fit. So right from that point on, it was like game on. We were competitive every week. Truck was, we couldn't have maybe missed 1-2 events in 3 years, maybe, or 2 years with Brian and Mark. and that's a huge accomplishment.
There was one story I had with Brad, and I felt kind of humble, but I was kind of one of the few that was able to move your truck around. In the St. Louis, Brian was telling me not a very few crew guys outside of the main crew guys can drive the truck around and stuff like that. And it was kind of a little bit of a mistake. Not really a mistake, but I was filling up at St. Louis, and when you go to St. Louis inside the Dome, you park while you're filling up. You park on this road, basically. You're outside. You're on this road that's on there, and then you fill it up. Yeah. And I'm filling up. Brian, I think, went off to talk to you and about, I think, strategizing game plan for freestyle at that, portion of the event.
Right.
And I'm just filling up, getting ready to go. And I'm like, where's Brian at? I don't know where you two guys went. And I'm looking around, and I'm getting yelled at by the tech officials and everything like that. And they're like, get in the truck. Gotta go. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go. And got in the truck, just started moving out. And I finally see you guys at the exit of the tunnel. And you guys looked, see the truck drive by. And then I saw you guys just continue talking. Like, it was like, okay, you just keep on driving. And you're like, oh, and then just continue talking. I was like, okay, fine. And, I didn't know that the scenario was like that. And then, then your home turf show in New Jersey. Yeah. Brian asked me to drive the truck out, and that was pretty difficult because I don't know how you did it, but I remember you smashed the hood up so bad that it covered up basically the whole right side of the visual. So you couldn't see anything on the right side of the truck. All you could see was left. And I was also driving. And then because that's when Lindsay destroyed the whole rear housing, and that's when you and Lindsay was touring with each other for that micro mini tour.
Oh yeah,
Vegas.
Yep.
And because I was with Jason and Brian, we hit like Nebraska and I think that Mudfest over there in Santa Clara.
Oh yeah, Eesh.
that really bad Mudfest, and then we did New Jersey, and that was when Lindsay destroyed the rear housing of his truck. So they were trying to thrash back and forth.
Really? And Lindsay trashed his truck? Really?
Yeah, really?
That like almost never happens. Crazy.
Shenanigans.
Who would have thought?
But I that's another time I moved the truck, and and that was, I don't know, like when Brian said very few people do it, I was like, well, thank you for trusting me for doing it. Because
did you notice the cup holder?
Yes.
Oh, okay. What's the story of this cup holder? I need to know.
I've always had a cup holder in my truck. Always.
See that'd be actually real. That's probably really handy. I gotta admit.
Mm-hmm.
You probably have to, like, if you're gonna drive with a drink in there, that's probably not a good idea. Or just try to strap it down so nothing happens.
You use a straw one, like the cup, and you squeeze the bottle of the water in, and then.
Yeah. So sometimes I would lose it. Lose the cup or the jug, and I'd make Mark go out like during the week and find another one, and I had to have the right straw so I could tuck it up in the helmet, and the straw had to go all the way down because I didn't like tilt the thing up. It was a whole process, but he was getting good at it. He knew where to get them when. But now I have my own customized cup from Mark, and Brian.
So one thing
I'm all good now.
One thing I want to know, maybe people may know about, is when you're in the driver's seat, you have that hose that's in your helmet. I know it's the cooler situation because we always the cooler, the fan ice cooler type deal. Was that from something that you learned from off-road racing you brought into monster trucks? What got you the idea of using that air system when you're behind the wheel of the monster truck?
Yeah, so that came from off-road. It's just a blower, puts air into the helmet. Because a lot of times, guys still do it. They run without a shield or whatever. I always like my shield down because never fails. You go to do intros, you stomp on the throttle, and all the fiberglass from mounting the body or putting a new windshield in. Now comes and it's in your eyes. So I always hated that. The other thing was when you went from outside to inside, when you went, if it was cold outside and you went into a warm building, it would fog up, and it would cure that as well.
So let's talk about the World Finals. Let's talk about that moment. A lot of people have been waiting for to get into this. So let's talk about that. I believe it was 2017. I believe I always get the certain years mixed up.
Yeah, it was 17.
Talk about that World Finals weekend, because you came out on top in freestyle with the flip. But talk about that whole weekend and kind of the stuff leading up to it that people might not know about that weekend.
Just typical World Finals. You just, man, I wanted to always, and just like everybody else, I wanted to win racing so bad, and you try so hard and you focus so hard on it, me and Lindsay, and, that's why I was there. For the most part, I could give a crap about freestyle. I wanted to win racing. And, we fair share of issues, you could say, at World Finals with racing. So, it's one of the things that's always bugged me, that I didn't get that trophy. But again, it's just a typical weekend. And at that point, I don't know if it was the first year they did it where it was just a racing track and then they built the freestyle afterwards, like overnight. So, as usual, we stayed out Lake Las Vegas. Me, Cam McQueen, a couple other drivers, just to get out of the city. So, as usual, Cam would wake me up and we got to be there at 6, so we got to go study the track. So, there I am dragging my ass there at 6 a.m. To go study this course. And, we had talked about, you got to have that move. You got to have a move. You have to have a save. That's the only way it's the only way you're going to win. You got to basically pull something out of your ass, hope it sticks, and, see how well you do against others who pull most of their shit out of their ass. So we had talked about, like Cam had done it, I think the previous year, basically front flipped. Guy next to me wanted to race, but I'm in the old beater, so I can't do it. So he had done it. I think on like the freestyle landing ramp type jump, he got to the top of it, rolled forward, continued on. I'm like, that's going to be probably something that would work. So if you back up 2 weeks prior, we were in Detroit, and I did a slap wheelie to a ramp, and it crashed, because I didn't hit it very square, kind of rolled off the side of the ramp. But that's kind of where the original idea came from. Just if I could do slap wheelie to ramp and have it bounce off its nose and back to its wheels, I thought that'd be cool. So that's where the original idea came from. Finding the ramp to do it, that was what I spent Sunday doing, Sunday morning. And I think, I talked to Cam a little bit about it. Randy Brown was kind of in the circle. We were standing there talking, about all those topics. And, I had told my wife, I said, if I make it to the end of freestyle, don't look away, because whether it works or it doesn't, it's going to be spectacular. So, if you watch the run, you can see about halfway through, I hit the same ramp, just so I could see the attitude of the truck and make sure I was gonna go in the right direction to the ramp I wanted to hit. And, but I hit the ramp and then I just landed and drove away and didn't do anything. But it's at that point I knew, all right, this is where I'm going to hit. This is where I need to go. And then, Brian always he always talked to me nonstop during the freestyle run. So he had kind of, you could see I was just biding my time with around the 30-second mark. I was kind of just driving around, basically waiting to hit my backflip, and then I hit the backflip and turned right back around and hit the same ramp that I hit, about a minute earlier. So what made it spectacular is when it went into the slap wheelie, which I'm not a great slap wheelie guy. Not like my buddy Lindsey Wink, who can slap wheelie at any time. So what did it was it never hit the wheelie bar, and I never lifted off the throttle. So just those two things is what made it front flip.
Man, that's pretty crazy, the insight. Because when I was talking to Brian we did an earlier interview late last year with Brian Mays. Brian telling us about the front flip, or capped off the mark. He was talking about, because during the season you guys had a high goal, and it seemed like him as a crew chief, he felt like they didn't reach it. And the freestyle came along and kind of motivated that to, now I'm going to transition towards the 2018 year, because you guys won that stadium tour and you guys did it in very good fashion. So it wasn't just the freestyle itself. You guys rolled on in the next year being a favorite, and you guys continued on with winning.
Yeah, we lost the 17 one to, I think Chucky won it, but they barely beat us down in San Antonio. I gave it all I had, and we came up just so short. We should have had both of them, both years, 17 and 18. But I'm glad we did 18 because we didn't win 17, and we had Ryan on our tour. We had John Zimmer on our tour. I kind of at a loss at who else was there, but when you have Ryan Anderson on your tour, this is not me kissing his ass. Me and Ryan are good buddies. He is beyond everybody. There's nobody even in his league in a monster truck, and for us to battle with him all year long, and it was that stupid nose wheelie that I kind of just I got it figured out. It was that stupid nose wheelie that won me a championship. That was it, because we were pretty competitive in racing with him. He would win, I would win. But when it came to freestyle, I mean, if most of the time he won. So that was just to back up 17 with that in 18. Plus, it was almost like a, I don't know if you know what that means.
Yep. We all know
that was to everybody. That was me to everybody.
So going back to the front flip, when you got into the slap wheelie and it didn't hit the wheelie bar, you're just matted right down on the floor. When you approached that ramp, what was going through your mind?
Nothing. Just focused on staying in the throttle, and just waiting for the ramp to hit. There was nothing. When I was inverted, all the mud that was on the floor, because of that stupid ass fountain thing they freaking come up with every year, then they broke the pipe, so that whole corner was full of mud. So there was a ton of mud on the floor. So when I was inverted, all the mud that was on the floor now hit me in the shield, and I was concerned that I wasn't going to be able to see when I landed, which wasn't a big deal. The only bad part was I had no traction to hit that backflip ramp. It just spun the tires going up it.
Now I'm going to be not talking about no front flip. I'm going to be talking about mostly with the VP. The representation that you had with them. You did more than just monster truck driving them for them. You did displays at their gas stations. You had a marketing person that helped you out during pit parties. You had other representatives, and then you're also connected with the people at VP. How was that relationship for those 3 years with the VP company?
It was spectacular. They were so far above what Feld was used to doing. They had a rep there every weekend. There was somebody with us. In the beginning, I don't remember her name, Vanessa maybe. She was there every weekend. We had a model every weekend. A lot of times we had a mad scientist there. Nobody did that. Nobody does. Still nobody does that. And that was part of their deal. And they wanted, my job or their approach to it was they were working on their future customers 10 years out. That was my job, to relate to the kids and have them, that's their customers 10 years out at their gas stations. Cause that's what they're shooting for now, are gas stations.
So we got a couple fan questions here. We have to see our chat on the side here.
Anything that George Belhan asks, I will not answer.
I don't think George is watching. I haven't seen any comments, or if anything, Lindsay would have commented. We have a comment from Deborah Eric Whitemane. Asked, when you did the front flip, in that moment, did you know what you had done or happened?
No, I didn't know. It was Colton Eichenberger. I think I said that right. He's the one that showed me on video, because he's like, dude, do you know what you did? I'm like, I know it was pretty cool, but I don't know what it looked like. So he had pulled it up on his phone when we were up on top of the building there.
See, and one thing I want to mention is like the media coverage you got from that was insane. I think the one video that probably drew the most attention was the Aussie Man Reviews video. Yeah,
but you know what? I knew, and this is one of the things I have such an issue with. I knew Sunday that Monster Jam had failed miserably to promote, that whole deal, as well as it did. My buddy called me in the morning and said, you broke the internet, which was really cool, but not one person, nobody from Feld called and said, hey dude, good job. Hey dude, congratulations. Hey, loved what, that was awesome. The press that we're getting from this is insane. Nothing like we've ever had before, ever. Not one person.
You're the only one that was on ESPN.
I was on MSNBC, the Money Channel.
Yeah.
The Money Channel. Stocks.
I
was on the Stock Channel.
Just because you took a 10,000-pound truck and did a flip with it, and you're there like, what am I doing here? I'm not supposed to be here.
But the thing is also
not one person, not one.
But the cool thing is VP did take advantage of that, because they did that on their commercials. I saw commercials with that truck doing the front flip. Even though it's the VP took a full advantage of that opportunity. Only
the owner of VP and me know what I got out of the deal, and it'll stay that way because that's what I promised. But he treated me, and he still does. I call him at any time. I took him down to Baja racing with me. I did an event. I say, hey, I could use a little help. Absolutely, man. What do you need? And it's simple as that. And I don't ask for free stuff. It's just, that's not my style. But always willing to take care of me, and that's awesome.
Another question we have is from Don Sweely Jr. on Facebook. He asks, "Who did you hate to race against and why?"
That's tough. So I got to take you in the house with me because I'm running out of battery here.
Yeah. No worries, man.
So,
You still living at the same place?
oh yeah, I'll never leave. I don't know if I ever hated racing somebody. I hated racing Dennis in the beginning because, man, that was just brutal. Again, that's when I was learning that I'm an entertainer, not a racer.
Man.
Look at
So,
But race, as far as racing though, I love racing Lindsay. Always one of my favorites. There's nothing better than beating Damon in racing and then rubbing it in his face afterwards. So I don't know I think we were in Arnhem, and I was driving Nitro Circus over there for Cam and racing Damon, and just took the whole front end, gone out from underneath it, just to beat Damon.
now that's one of my questions: is the camaraderie and the friendship that you had with Cam, Lindsay, Damon, George, sometimes Scott, and it just seemed like you guys had that friendship that you never really saw in the Monster Truck or Monster Jam world. And talk about them. Those guys, obviously you helped them, they helped you, but it seemed like an awesome friendship.
Yeah, it's like I probably talk to George, once a week. St. Lindsay probably every other day. Same thing with Damon. Cam's a little harder, because he's up in the Canada. So
Canada.
But we text all the time. But I don't know. It's just it's just a good solid group. We always kept our circle small. We just, I don't know, trust. There's a lot of trust.
So we have a comment here, kind of relating to that, from Ron Duncombe.
Dunk.
Yeah, the dunk. He says, "What about the time in San Antonio that him and Damon Bradshaw pulled the wheels off of your rental car?" Which kind of leads into rental car stories. So,
we just texted about that. Like it was either today or yesterday. Talking about that, and Damon's like, "Oh, I kind of remember." I'm like, "Kind of." I was like, "You guys pulled the wheels off my car. How could you not remember that?" It's because I was taking too long getting dressed after the show. And they didn't want to wait anymore.
They had enough time to pull every single wheel off.
Yes, and then hide them.
Any other rent shenanigans with rental cars? That's what. So with the rental car thing, we take it from Monster Truck Radio with Jeff Richards back in the day, and he'd always ask his guests any rental car stories, and we keep the tradition alive today.
So when we did Australia, nobody was allowed to have a rental car, but Damon, who's always one-upping everybody, it's in his contract that he gets a rental car no matter where he goes. So we did we did the whole eastern side. It was Brisbane, Adelaide. It was like 4 cities. So we're like, you know what? We're going to drive. And it's like thousands of miles or whatever it is. So we get this van, and so not only are you driving on the wrong side of the road, now you're sitting on the wrong side of the car. So it's me, Mark McDonald, and it was me, Mark, and Damon. And we barely made it out of the parking lot we went the wrong way, right out of the parking lot of the rental center, going down the like a main road on the wrong side. Yeah. So it took all 3 of us to figure out how to drive that thing.
Oh my goodness.
You know what? We survived though. We made it.
Yeah, yeah. I think that was in 2015. I was with you guys on that, and that was hearing about your guys' road trips were pretty funny.
It was awesome.
But one thing, again, with my questions about like the sponsorships, you have a longevity with the sponsors that you're with.
Yeah.
Like you said with VP, you're so connected with that. Even the hat that you're wearing, Never Lift, and I think Hooker Harnesses.
Yep.
You know, talk about the longevity of that, because you were one of the few drivers, also with Damon and George and a couple others, that got your own partnership with some of the personnel. And then even after racing or doing your monster truck side of it, they're still on board with you. How was that experience for you? And, you know,
it took a long, I'm going to take you out to the garage so it's a little quieter for the house is settling down. So for the longest time, you know, it was preached that, you know, don't approach the sponsors. You know, it's, they're not here for you. You know, if you do, you'll be fired, blah, blah, blah. So it wasn't until, I don't even know what year it was, that I guess it was when Damon came in, you know, Monster was his sponsor. So, you know, nothing really could be said at that point to him about it. So we kind of, you know, I went to, so the Never Lift racing, I raced the AJ, the kid that owns it. I call him a kid only because he's younger than me. He's the son of a guy I used to race against, lived out of Pittsburgh, Art Schmidt. So, you know, we have a relationship with his dad. I've raced with him a long time. So, you know, it was just, hey, I want to help you out. You know, just, I'll promote your brand. Just give me, you know, whatever you want to send me, I'll take. It doesn't matter. Just there to help you out. The Hogs and Heifers, you know, it was a friend of a friend. And, you know, we just hit it off. You know, she loves racing, her ex-husband now, but AR, you know, solid dude, you know, just whatever you need, man, let me know. That's what he says every time. Hey, man, just tell me what you need. So it's, to me, it means something that, you know, you're still with the same people, Hooker Harness for, you know, years, you know, and it's, I don't know. To me, that's an accomplishment as well.
So one kind of common question that we've had from some people, and you know, most people know that you've stepped away from monster trucks, you know, that part of your life is done, but we've had a couple comments, you know, one here from Alan Weaver asked, any event monster truck wise you'd like to run, and then another one from Kathy Empringharn, would you consider driving a monster truck in a different series? You know, would you still, like, with an independent team or independent promoter ask you, hey, I want you to come fill in, you know, last minute, would you get behind the wheel eventually, or is that part of your life done and, you know, you moved on?
I don't know. You never say never, right? You know, I talked to Ryan about this a little bit. You know, I thought by now somebody would have, you know, kind of said, hey, can you fill in? You know, I need a driver. And only one, I've had 3 offers. One I considered, but we couldn't come to a financial agreement. So I just, you know, I don't need your money. I'll pass. So, you know, but I said to Ryan, I was like, you know, I thought by now I would have been in something, you know, just whether filling in or whatever. And he has his thoughts on it, you know, and I kind of have mine. So, you know, I don't know. Like I said earlier, you know, I'm a pretty spoiled driver, and, you know, a lot of independents they don't want to put up with that. I don't blame them, you know. It just that's just the way I am, and you know, I don't know.
But it's like you said, never say never.
Never say never, though. Yeah, because if I say no, then my phone will ring tomorrow and somebody will need something. So but I'm not actively looking for it. So
There's another one from Gabriel Lee. He said, out of every vehicle you have raced, which has been your favorite?
It's a good question. All of them? I don't know. The Ultra 4 car was pretty badass. I had a little single buggy that we had for a couple of years. That was a blast to drive. It was a lot of fun. We had RJ Anderson's XP K1 car for a little while. The Polaris Razor that he used in his stunts that he did, his videos. That car was that was pretty quick little car. It was a lot of fun to drive.
Those things are sick.
Yeah,
So
I don't know. I like as long as I'm racing. It doesn't matter what it is.
you just want to be behind the wheel of something.
Yeah.
Now, with there's so many racing vehicles, and one of mine kind of on the bucket list is to drive a Nitro Funny Car. Would you ever get behind something like that, like basically a bomb in front of you?
I would drive anything. It don't matter to me. It's just I never really enjoyed just doing the straight line drag racing. It's like turning left all the time. It just wasn't my thing. I'd probably, I don't know if I'd get in a sprint car right now, but maybe I'd like to try a late model. Just give a few laps to see if I liked it, see if I was any good at it. I don't know. I'd never say never, though.
Yeah. Jeremy Gerhardt said here, I'm poor and I can't afford to sponsor you, but how much? Remember, Corona killed the economy, so be nice. Question.
What does he want to sponsor? We have this bad little car right here.
Ooh.
It's, yeah, she's pretty cool. I'd probably have to put her in the car with me at some point to make it worth the money.
So I want to ask, we have certain questions with Crush This. We've had them since day one, and
Sure.
and there's and one has to deal with the Norman brothers. So and these we always ask our guests this. We don't care who it is. We always have to ask this. What is your favorite kind of pie?
Either blueberry or cherry.
Blueberry
Ooh,
or
that's
cherry? Is blueberry new on Cheech?
Yeah, and cherry.
Blueberry and cherry. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to ask the second one, Cheech?
Yeah. Do you
Don't be
like?
scared.
This is a very important, hard-hitting question. Right
Yes.
here.
This is the
Are you
important one.
for or against eggnog?
I love eggnog.
Oh my God.
Hate eggnog.
See, okay, I'll give you the backstory. So we've had the Norman brothers on multiple times.
Sure.
Cheech lived with them, and I believe it was like what you found eggnog ice cream in their fridge, right, Cheech?
Mm-hmm.
And,
I'd be all over that.
And I can't stand this stuff. The texture, what mainly does it is the nutmeg in it. I can't stand nutmeg. I can't do it. I just think no, get that stuff away from me as far as possible. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
I don't know.
Like no matter how much alcohol, no matter how much rum you can put in that stuff, makes it this no. And it's been a rivalry ever since.
Yeah. But yeah, that's our hard-hitting questions of the night.
Oh, my dad just commented. Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry, Brad.
My dad just says eggnog for the win.
Yeah, my dad likes eggnog too, so he's part of that group also.
I'm trying to there's a question from Melanie Sharo Karpinski. Do you remember giving away your liquid sunglasses at the World Finals to my friend, the only one without them in their group? Great time.
I gave away quite a few pairs of glasses. Do I just say yes so it makes everybody feel good? I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember. I did give. I pretty much every pair of glasses that they gave us, I gave away during World Finals.
Nice.
As much as I loved them, they were pretty badass at the time. So, but yeah, it's all about the fans.
All about the fans, number one.
Yeah.
So, as we start to wind down, is there anything that you would like to say to your longtime fans that have stuck with you, for your full career in Monster Trucks and in Monster Jam? Is there anything you'd like to say to them?
There's only 2 of them, and I talked to them earlier today. Or was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Yeah, there's only 2 of them. I talked to them yesterday. It's pretty neat to be just recognized, for doing something. I had a long career. I was there, I think 18 years. That's a pretty big deal, I think. I think we did things that not just the flip, but there's other things that we did that nobody else did. So I'm kind of proud of those. It's nice, it's nice when you have the same people, like at World Finals, you have the same people come year after year, and they know all about you, and they you recognize them, and you follow them on social media back and forth, whatever. But just that year in, year out, they're always there, and you get to appreciate those people that I'm still in contact with through Facebook and whatnot. That's pretty special. A lot of other entertainers don't do that. But that's Monster Jam. I'm trying not to say something nice about them, but that's one of the things that they did do right was make it about the fans. And it's a shame that those 2 guys were let go, because they were the heart and soul of that company. And I don't know if you know what jumping the shark means, but that's when they jumped the shark.
I've never heard that term, but I'll have to search it up.
It's not hard to find.
Searching. It's this, it's always interesting because, we like to talk to see how, everything, what drivers been through and stuff like that. And we had one person asked about that. And this gentleman, Wayne, he was talking about, is moving on from Monster Jam. And it looks like you're doing awesome, and with that also, the way I'm going with it also is with the VP truck, no one filled in your seat. That truck, you're the only one to drive that truck. And me personally, I think that's pretty cool, because no one, when they say VP Mad Scientist, they're going to think of you.
Yeah. Shame on them for being, for lack of a better word, greedy. We were, at least on my end and VP's end, there was more. We were ready to go for more, but just couldn't make the deal happen.
Yeah,
they screwed up again. It's a common theme, just with them and sponsors. It just, you can see it. It's a pattern.
Yeah.
They're used up. They wring them out, and as soon as they try to get more, it's kicked out the door.
And especially right now, like nothing's going on, and I think it's and for independent promoters are doing back shows. I know Zane with his tour, the Renegade Monster Truck Tour. You got Monster Truck Throwdown kicking on doing shows at Beckley.
Yeah.
I think this time in Monster Trucks is going to be awesome for the independents.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. And I'm excited. I've been doing a lot of work with Zane with his company with the design work and stuff like that, and even got a message from Ed Beckley. One of his shows is coming. July 18th. This period for Monster Trucks is the independents. Coming to the forefront. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It gives them a chance. It gives the independent teams a chance to, hey, let's do this thing.
I know. I almost had tickets to an Elliott show, but yeah, he never came through. So I don't know whatever happened. I tried to get free tickets and I couldn't get any.
I know the show that in Edmonton got canceled. That means no shows for me for this year. But stupid COVID and living in Canada.
Yeah.
So Cheech, anything else, man?
We got one more. We had that Kathy lady said about how you took care of her son Chris, and you made.
Yeah, I know Chris. I remember Chris very well.
She's saying thank you to you. So that was pretty cool.
There's no thanks. He's a great kid. Man, and just a wealth of knowledge. For such a little guy, he knew everything about me. Knew everything about my kids, and just everything about the sport. I mean, you can ask him a question and he would go on for 20 minutes. That's pretty cool. And there's lots of kids like him.
Well, there's a comment here from Levi Jones, says took care of me too, bud.
Oh yeah, Levi's a good kid.
Oh yeah.
I also wanted to know this. Talk about Andrew and Mark being your spotters. How did that go?
Andrew and Mark.
Be more specific there, Levi. I think.
Again, my memory is not very good. I don't think we ever let Mark. Maybe we let Mark on the radio once.
Maybe a stretch if we did. Off-road thing, because I remember you did some off-road with what was it?
Local stuff. I remember there was a video of, I think Andrew or Mark Albert and
Andrew.
Oh yeah, Andrew. Yeah. Yeah, I try not. So Andrew and Mark, they're good guys. I like both of them, but they always put these posts up. Hey, we're going to whatever. They're going to Brooks and Dunn. They're going to Eric Church. And I'm like, every time they do that, I'm like, thanks for the invite. Never do I get an invite. Never. We're going camping up at my cabin this weekend. I'm like, still no invite? Question mark? Nothing? And you're always invited. I'm like, yeah, but not on the first invite. So
you're the second group.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, we're going down the shore this weekend. I'm like, can I come? Yeah, you come. I'm like, no, you didn't ask. So
well, Mark and Andrew, this is your warning. Starting, inviting Lee. He wants to come out.
I always tell him, I'm like, that's okay. I didn't want to go anyway. That's all right. I didn't want to go see Eric Church or whatever they do. But they're good. They're good kids though.
I think they did one of them. I think did a GoPro video. They're riding passenger seat with you. I believe one time. Did any of them became like a navigator? I know someone was a navigator. Maybe
did Andrew ride with me? I don't know. He could have.
There's a video of him navigating, and I think you were driving and you're doing your thing, and he was trying to help you navigate through. It was a wooded area.
It's the races in Pennsylvania that we do are like that, and I maybe he did ride with me. I don't remember.
But speaking of which, how is it also having Damon as a co-driver when you guys do the Mint?
Just his reaction really says it all.
Yeah. So we didn't ride at the Mint. I did the first 2 laps. He finished the race. At least one of them he finished. The other one he broke the car. But so we only ever did. We were only in the car together in Baja for the 1,000, and yeah, he was my navigator, and I trust the dude with my life 100%. That's why I took him down there. So we're going, and things are going. They're going well, and we're coming up on this corner, and I could see the chop where everybody's hitting the brakes, and he's not saying anything. And I'm like, I know, we're cooking along, maybe, I don't know, maybe 80, 90 plus miles an hour. And I'm like, I know I need to check up here. I could see it, and he's not saying anything. And then all of a sudden he goes, I think we need to make a right. And it was a hard right. And meanwhile, I'm already on the brakes because I know something's coming. And like we get to the turn, I look over the edge. I'm like, dude, we could have died. I was like, you need to make sure we don't die. I was like, you got one job, man. And he didn't miss anything after that.
So there's one thing, Brad, before you say anything. I went to Joey Sylvester's house a couple months ago, and I'm just walking around because my parents don't live that far away from like across the river, state to state. So I'm hanging out, taking a look at the new trailer, and then I also brought my pit bike and we started riding around and stuff like that. And we were moving some tires over, and I noticed, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, Joe. You got a little, UTV, modified UTV, type race car type deal. And I look up and I see the name, and it's your last name and Bradshaw. I was like, man, that's pretty cool. And Joe's like, see something cool? And the back end is all burnt. I was like, what the heck happened? And he told me the car caught on fire. So what was the story behind that?
And by the way, so say, not this Bradshaw, but not Damon Bradshaw.
So we were doing Vegas to Reno, and we were 100 and something miles in, and the transmission let go, and something came out of it. So it put a hole in it, and all the oil ripped up onto the header and caught fire. And so it was no big deal. I think it's on our YouTube channel, our Hogs and Heifers YouTube channel. You can see me jump out of the car, grab the fire extinguisher, all nonchalant, put the fire out.
Just like, no big deal, just an everyday thing.
The crazy thing is you take a look at it, you thought it's a race car, but internally it does, but it's some extremely heavy modified razor or I call it. But
yeah, so it's one of Robbie Gordon built it. So it's basically a Textron, but other than the running gear, I mean, it's got an Arctic Cat turbo motor in it. It's a lot of fun to drive.
How fast
you can, it'll do just over 100. Which is pretty good for a UTV. But it'll go through the whoops though pretty quick.
The acceleration is pretty good.
Yeah, it's really loud. It's annoyingly loud. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and we're in the middle of I don't know if you could see it or not. So we got our new transmission sitting on the floor, new wiring harness, and got to put all that stuff back together. Yeah, that's it there.
Okay. So when did you pick it up? Because Joey was telling me you guys we were planning on picking it up, I think a few days after I was there.
Yeah, so Damon had I don't know if you saw, they did that
Moto Fight Club.
Thank you very much, Brasha. So that was like a big hush thing, but he called me like a couple days before. He goes, dude, I'm going to be in Ohio, drive out, come hang out. And I'm like, it's a 6-hour ride, I'm like, it's like, you don't just bop over to Ohio from New Jersey. But, I'm like, all right, I don't get to see him, whatever. I'm like, well, where is it? He goes, what's the name? I don't remember the name of the town. Is it Canfield?
Canfield, Ohio.
Canfield. So he goes, it's in Canfield. I'm like, are you shitting me? I was like, you pulling my leg? He goes, why? I was like, that's where the car is. He's like, get out of here. So I'm like, all right, give me the address. So I put that address in. I put Joey Sylvester's address in. It's like 9 miles from each other. So I'm like, all right, leaving in the morning. See you there. So we were right in the middle of all this COVID. It was the beginning of the lockdown of this bullshit stuff here. And so I grabbed my 2 girls. I'm like, come on, let's take a ride to Ohio. So we hung out with Damon for a few days. We watched the motocross deal, which was awesome. Travis was there. Who else
Ryan
was there?
Jeff Ward. Because I remember watching it. I'm like, wait a second. And they were interviewing Damon. I was like, wait a second. Is that Lee?
Yeah, you can see us on all. My kids are there playing in the background. While the thing is going on. Yeah, we had a good time. It was pretty neat.
So my last question, and Cheech kind of brought, the camaraderie between like you and Damon, you and Lindsay, and all the kind of group that you guys had. Any pranks? Any pranks happen between you guys?
That's got Lindsay Wink written all over it.
Oh boy.
He was ruthless with Scott Butel. Ruthless. We would, I mean, just stupid stuff. We'd take his car and park it on the other side, like as far away in the parking lot as you can get, and then walk out in the morning and say, all right, Scott, see ya. And then he's like looking for his car, and it's like, on the other side of the building. It was always on Scott, poor Scotty.
Well, there was a story that we always heard through the shop about something to do with the fish. Someone put fish in someone's fire suit, and I thought it was between Damon and Lindsay. And they won. Do you know what story?
I thought that was between. I thought that was between Lindsay and Adam.
Maybe I don't know. I just heard about fish stories about someone putting a piece of fish inside someone's fire suit and it just reeked. No,
when my little one was she was just a baby, I put a nasty ass diaper in Frank's gear bag. That was fun. Sorry, Frank. When Twig was still around, when he was with Damon, we jammed garlic knots in his helmet blower. That was pretty nasty.
Oh boy! See, I'd love to get like you and Damon and Lindsay in here and just tell stories because that'd be just a riot. And get Frank in here too.
No, you get Frank, Cam. Like Cam wrote something on my backpack. I don't know. He wrote penis on my backpack, and it was probably like 3 years later that I finally like noticed it because he did it like in pencil. So it kind of blended in, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, what the hell is this? So I don't know how I act. I just wound up saying, hey, was this you? And he's like, took you long enough. It was like 3. I walk around with penis on my backpack.
Man, we gotta have to definitely try to make that work. We gotta get all you guys in here and just tell stories and just cut on each other because that'd be a riot.
Yeah. He had those little Northern Nightmare stickers, the Canadian ones.
Yeah.
And one day, like I haven't seen Cam in I don't know, 2 years maybe more. So I opened my cabinet one day, and just the coffee cup was turned just the right way. There's this freaking Northern Nightmare sticker on it. And I'm like, how the hell did I not see that for the last 2 years? I mean, I couldn't tell you the last time he was at my house, probably 15, 16. And it's been on there ever, that whole time. I never noticed it.
Speaking about that Jeep, was that one of your first Jeeps or that you had?
Yeah, so let's see here. That was my mom and dad's first race Jeep. It's a 1953 Willys. So it's we have it in here. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of stuff going on in the garage the last few weeks. So one of the races that they did and I went to growing up, now my kids go to, the 7 miler is what it's called. It's in Pennsylvania, right in the middle of Pennsylvania, and this is the 50th year that they're having it. So that Jeep went through it, I don't know how many times in the 70s. So we're restoring it, and we'll take it up there for the 50th anniversary, and I'll probably trail ride with it maybe. And then, the race is on Saturday. So, but we'll take it up there, and, my kids, they'll go trail riding or bop around the backyard or whatever with it.
So anything, fans can, look forward to seeing you in racing wise, or even just on social media, like what can fans expect from, Lee O'Donnell in the coming future?
Well, obviously the whole COVID nonsense has put a damper on racing for right now, at least the bigger stuff, Yeah. Hogs and Heifers was affected just like everybody else. So she's closed down for, I think till the beginning of August. I think it opens back up. She's the owner of the car, so. But we'll. The reason it's here is we'll go through it, and we're going to race it. We have an event in Pennsylvania in the middle of August. We're going to go down to Texas in December with it. There's a big race in Texplex that we're going to go down to. We're going to go out to KOH. I don't know if we're going to race just yet or not with the car, but I'm going there anyway. We're working on something. We'll have to do that at a later date because I don't want to spoil it. But there may or may not be something happening at KOH. So further details to come.
We'll definitely have to have you on when you can announce that. Definitely. Yeah,
because it's you guys will be blown away, and it's it'll be a pretty cool deal. I wish I could tell you more, but I don't have enough. I have all the yeses, but I don't have enough commitment in those yeses yet. And you know what? I'm just the guy putting it together. It almost has nothing to do with me. I just saw an opportunity, and I think it'd be freaking badass. So,
you're definitely going to have to keep us updated on that so we can, like I said, announce that on here because that'd be really awesome to be able to do that.
I will do that.
Nice. Well,
somebody's phone's going insane.
That's me, but
yeah,
yeah.
That's it. You don't have any more questions? You kidding?
No, I'm trained. no more. But okay, so let's talk. Since all bets are off. That she mentioned to us.
Yep.
Do you regret anything of your time with Monster Jam?
Sure.
There's obviously, yeah. But did you enjoy the good times? Did the good times and the bad times kind of like that, or was it kind of more bad times and more good times?
The management made it, they made it difficult. They made it difficult to enjoy, but it's the people, not only the fans. I mean, the fans are great. It was the people. It was my friends, that I got to hang out with and travel the world, and and just to meet, like when me and Damon met, we couldn't stand each other, just like me and Lindsay couldn't stand each other, and now they're two of my better friends. Going to Becky and Donald's wedding in September. Just those people. Dunk, just my dinner guy in Vegas at World Finals every year. Just all these great people that I've met along the way, and George and Cam, that made an impact in my life, and I hope I help them out somewhere along the way, because all those people have helped me. But yeah, it's the people that's the best part of it. But yeah, other than that, they made it way harder than it needed to be. And I'm not afraid to say it,
Yeah. And there's not a lot of people that would go out and say that kind of stuff,
No. There's a lot of cowards.
And it's very it's brave of you to come out and say stuff like that, because
it's not brave. It's the thing. You could say it now. You couldn't say it when you still had a job, though.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to go. I couldn't wait for January to come and go travel with my buddies, and goof off and race monster trucks. It was awesome. So you kept your mouth shut. Just like they all do. I voiced up as much as I thought I could get away with. And people didn't like me for it. You know what? F you. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
You know, you don't like me. I don't care that you don't like me. I ain't wasting my time on that.
And there's a lot of people in racing that are like that are very openly spoken. Even though like a guy like John Forrest, and I really have a lot of stuff to John Forrest because he's my favorite race car driver of all time.
Sure,
he openly speaks his mind. You know, like even in I think it was 2011, the controversy with Tony Pendragon, Cruz, and the whole countdown thing, he voiced his opinion. He's like, if you don't like me, like whatever. You know, and I respect people that have that kind of mentality because not a lot of people have a spine.
It's hard when you're, you know, like, you know, I always looked at, you know, I always looked at Deborah, you know, push the envelope, and it just in other areas, you know, outside the truck, and then it was Damon pushing the envelope. Then it was like, all right, well, I push the envelope, you know, and it was just over nonsense. But, you know, the more they would take, they would just nibble at you. And then all of a sudden you turn around, you know, they asked for an inch and they took a mile, you know, and it's like, you know, I don't work for free. You know, you're getting paid. I need to be paid. You know, that's the way it works, you know, and it didn't always work out that way, but you did it because you liked doing the job, you know, and I thought I was pretty good at it. So I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed the people doing with them, but God, they made it hard.
Yeah. And now it's with everything that happened to them a few months ago, it's even harder.
I consider that. I told this to George the other day. I told Lindsay, I was like, I feel like it's my little slice of karma. What comes around goes around. You know, I told them from the get-go, I never needed their money. I got my own money. I never needed their money. I just liked the job. But you have to be paid for what you do. Yeah. You know, and these kids now, they're taking advantage of them, you know, and it's sad. You know, and I don't know. It makes me mad.
I'm definitely hoping with COVID, it kind of makes them realize, you know, the bigger picture. You know, this hopefully will. No, you don't think so?
Nope, not at all. Not at all. They're going to restructure and, you know, bring back the people that they want to bring back, and that'll be it. And it's sad. And it's sad because people, you know, put their heart and soul into their job, and just to be, you know, dismissed is it's sad. But you know, that's par for their course.
And that's why I'm excited for a guy like Cody Saucier getting to run with John Gordon. You know,
sure.
That's awesome to be able to do that. And just like I said earlier, with the independents, then the independent promoters, it's their time to shine, which I think is important for this business.
It sure is. Absolutely. I wish there were more trucks to go around for people like Cody. You know, it kills me that Tyler's not Meninga is not driving something somewhere. You know, I think the kid he oozes talent in a monster truck. It's pretty disgusting. I went and watched him once, and
that's the best way to describe his driver job. Just disgusting.
Yeah, it was, yeah. I was like, whatever, dude. I was like, you suck.
It's like he makes it look like a video game, basically.
Yeah, and the show I went to, I mean, it was, you know, he did some cool stuff, but I was like, hey, can you do, you know, go up like this and do this and come around and do this? And he didn't do it. I'm like, dude, you suck. You know, meanwhile, he does this backflip and it twists and it's all cool and whatnot. And I'm like, whatever, dude. But he's just, you know, it's a shame. He needs to be out there, you know, just putting his talent out there in somebody's truck, you know. And there's others, you know. I mean, they don't all suck. A lot of them do, but they don't all suck.
Man, I have to say it's always a good time with you, Lee. It was pretty cool when we visit your place, and
you're welcome here anytime, dude. You know the address.
Yeah.
Hey, if I ever somehow get out to the States, man, get away from Canada, I'm definitely gonna come hang out with Joe.
Right on. Anytime, man. House is always open.
Just say get that flight ticket.
Oh, I gotta get a new passport first. So.
Oh,
But
that's a problem right there.
Well, everything's still kind of shut down in that part for us here in Canada. I can't even get a passport.
Yeah.
Can't even do anything like that.
You can't cross country lines, right?
No, only you can fly across, but you can't drive across the borders. So
November 4th, it'll be over. So it's all right.
Well, hopefully that's in time for the Hall of Fame, Monster Truck Hall of Fame, because that definitely is a trip that I need to do. So.
Yeah, I always tell people I was never a monster truck guy. I'm still not a monster truck guy. But that it's one of the things I should, I'd like to go see. It'd be pretty cool.
It displays the history of the sport, and you never know what kind of truck they're going to bring for like a restoration. They brought Taurus. There was Taurus 3 a couple years ago, and like you never know what's going to happen at that thing. It's always insane.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Right on. Well, Brad, you got anything else?
Nope. Thank you, Lee, for coming on and letting us be your last kind of monster truck related interview. That definitely means a lot to us. And just thank you for a lot of the memories that you've given us, on TV and even the front flip. It means a lot to us fans, and a lot of your history and definitely, like I said, when you have that announcement, just let us know and we can definitely have you on again to plug that, man.
Yeah, that's going to be in the works for the rest of the summer, and hopefully by the fall we'll have everything nailed down, and it'll be, if it goes off, it'll be pretty cool. There'll be a lot of people talking about it.
I also have to say one thing. It was pretty cool.
Come on.
In Wheeling, West Virginia, in 2012 or 13, you were like one of the first drivers allowed like people to hang out, with you. Remember we went and ate some DeCarlo's pizza. Yeah. And then we were all I was a little track crew guy. I'm still short, but whatever. And
I remember.
Yeah. And we all just, you were talking to us like, we were part of the, the group itself, even though we were just doing it as weekend warriors. But, it was pretty cool, hanging out with you and, kind of, as fans of the sport, kind of gave the bug to other people to move on. And then further down the line, I got myself a job with Monster Jam and did a couple of shows with you, and then down the line, worked with you. So it was, and still doing it. And I wanted to say thanks. It's pretty cool to,
everybody's part of the show, and everybody should be treated the same, whether they're cleaning up the parts off the floor or running the show.
And that's one thing. I've worked with other promoters, and I remember, I think it was a show here where I lived, or about an hour away. They were like, shows over, and they're like, "Hey, come walk with us, wave." I'm just like, "Why? I'm not part of the show." But you're a part of the show. Come on, let's go.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, but no, anything else, Cheech, before we enter?
No, I just wanted to say thank you because it was pretty cool. It was a cool day, and then we all hung out and ate some good West Virginia pizza.
Yes, we did.
All right, guys. So on Thursday, we got Weston Anderson, Bog Hog Medic Truck coming on. And also just want to quickly plug one thing for Ed Beckley. We always like to give a shout out to people that are doing shows right now. Billings, Montana, Saturday, July 18th, 7 p.m., Big Sky Speedway. You got Obsessed, Zilla, Disturbed, Double Trouble, Wrong Way Rick, and Troublemaker. So if you're around the Billings, Montana area, go check those guys out. Go to a show this weekend, wherever there's other shows. And again, thank you, Lee, for definitely coming on and just shooting the shit with us, man. That means a lot to us.
Right on, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All righty, guys. Well, this has been another episode of Crush This Live, and as we always say, keep the rubber side down.
You gotta thank our sponsors there, dude.
Oh yes, we gotta thank our sponsors. Almost forgot. Thank you, Cheech. I've been go lately this week.
Wrong.
So let me bring up our little thing here. So we always like to give thanks to High Octane Coffee, Joey Sylvester, always some good stuff. J Concepts, always, awesome products that they're doing. I definitely want to get some for my rock crawler I have here. We got Backshutter Productions and Nick Davis. Go check out what he's doing on his YouTube channel. Lots of good stuff. The crew shirt that Cheech is wearing, 6B Apparel. Go check out what Chris and them are doing. We also got, I'm just letting it roll here. We got Marty Garza and Monster Truck Technology Book. Go check that out. JB Scale Graphics, the only company that licenses Bigfoot, Bad Habit, and Overkill Evolution stuff. And hey, even go check out Hogs and Heifers. And visit No Lift Apparel, Never Lift Apparel.
Yep, Never Lift.
Everlith, and Hooker
And your
Harness.
hookers.
Go check all those guys out, and even VP. You know, they supported Lee for many years, and they still do. Go check out all those guys out, and you know,
I want to just one last little thing. So when I was out in Ohio, I did get a bag of high octane coffee, and since the bag ran out, I have yet to have another cup of coffee because nothing compares. So, Joey, that's my plug. I need another bag of coffee, bro.
Cheech would normally have his bag of high octane and just roll it across the screen.
Especially behind
I gotta admit, it's
good
good coffee. It's
Hey,
good coffee.
I'm not a coffee drinker, even though I come from the land of Tim Hortons, and you know I've had the Bad Habit blend, and man, that stuff's good.
It is.
All right, there we go, guys. Sorry about I almost didn't get the plug in. Thank you, Cheech, for reminding me. We've been at this for just about 2 hours, so time to say goodnight, guys. And as we always say for Crush This, keep the rubber side down, the shiny side up. Peace.